I was just looking at your tweet saying this morning you opened the annual conference of City Week, and you say London isn't only a European hub, it's a global one. But how much has London already lost because of these Brexit negotiations?
Well, what I've seen is modest contingency arrangements across the city over the last 16 months. But there's been stability and a recognition that actually there are opportunities beyond Brexit, and that's what I was talking about this morning.
Okay, should Theresa May leave in June, does that make your job easier or more difficult? When you talk to international investors, I bet you, 80% of the conversation is on who's the next Prime Minister?
Well, the topic does come up, but what's important is that we actually leave the EU in an orderly fashion that's good for the economy. We'll enter an implementation period, and then we'll deal with the concerns that exist across the city around how we relate to the EU's regulatory framework over that implementation period. But we do need certainty, and we do need to resolve this matter. But the other point is that actually, if you think about green finance, if you think about fintech, if you think about the fact the UK City of London is a world-leading global hub in those areas, and you think about the economic opportunities that exist in India, Indonesia, China and beyond, that it's important that we're ready for those as well.
Will you stand as a candidate to replace Theresa May?
I certainly won't. I'm a junior minister in the Treasury. I think there are many, as already been noticed, there are many aspiring candidates, but this isn't my time.
Would you serve in a government under Boris Johnson?
I'd be happy to serve my nation under any Prime Minister if they wanted to have me. I mean, we've got to actually recognise what's important here, and that's orderly and stable government led by people who understand the need to have a flourishing economy that gives growth, gives tax revenues, that allows us to invest in public services. The government is bigger than any one personality, and what we need to do is recognise that we need a broad agenda that addresses the needs of the country at this very difficult time.
Mr. Glen, when you speak to international investors, is there an assumption in the markets that actually the longer you delay Brexit, the more watered down it will be? And is that an assumption that has truth, or is it far-fetched?
Well, when I talk to investors or institutions across the city, what they want is clarity over what that final state relationship looks like. The city is very pragmatic. They look at all different circumstances, but they get on with it regardless of us politicians. What's important, though, is that we make their life a lot easier by giving them some certainty so that we can actually give them assurances over the investments that they're making. As I said at the start, they have made modest contingency arrangements, but what's also striking over the last 16 months is that they continue to believe that the City of London is a global hub that will endure, and it's well placed to grasp the opportunities of a growing global economy that actually will grow significantly faster than the EU itself.
Glen, we also have Philip Hildebrand, who's my guest host here in London, so I'll get to him in a second. But what do big asset managers and big banks ask of you?
Well, they ask of me to ensure that we get a deal as quickly as possible. And obviously, I'm a junior member of the government, but I have lots of conversations with the Chancellor. And the Chancellor's been very clear that we honour the referendum result, but we do so in a way that minimises the disruption to the economy. And that's what the deal is always been about. And that's why I've supported it on 3 occasions. The Prime Minister will bring a new version of that deal back in 2 weeks' time. And I very much hope that the House of Commons will support it, because this uncertainty is obviously damaging.